Hi, my name is David, and today we will turn creativity into reality. So here I'm cutting up some pine cones what have been dried in the oven for several hours to ensure its moisture content is suitable to work with resin. Now I'm just using a little bit of hot glue to secure the piece. Otherwise it's rather tricky to trim these pieces without having secured to a piece of scrap wood. I found it one of the easiest way to make sure I can cut this safely. The reason I trim all the pine cones to fit the bore perfectly, to minimize the amount of resin I need to use to cast all the pine cones into resin. When all the pieces are in the bore, I will just use a smaller size plastic ball again to further support to reduce the amount of resin needed. With the help of some scrap wood and hot glue, I will set the bore in a slight angle because for this project I will use two different resin colors, but because I don't want the resin to blend together and form one single weird color, I will let the resin to fully set before I do the second color. So here I'm mixing up some deep pool resin. I use Vista Ocean, which works extremely well up to 50 ml, but even I stretched for a deeper pool and worked extremely well. So the first color will be some nice dark golden color using some metallic powder. I usually mix the resin for a good 2 to 3 minutes, and that is important you mix it and you not whisk it because you don't want to introduce more air bubbles into the resin. That's normally plenty enough time to make sure that part A and part B is fully mixed together, so you won't end up with any lumpy or not fully cured resin in your castings. So I will fill the bore all the way to the rim and then can go into the pressure pot for overnight at 60 psi. So I got this question a lot. Pressure pot does not help with the actual curing process. The normal chemical reaction will go through anyway without the pressure pot. Pressure pot mainly helps with air bubbles. Due to the compressed air, it will minimize the size of the air bubbles, what the human eye can't see. So basically you will end up with nice clear resin. Here I'm mixing out the second color, but I will use some nice metallic blue. I think it was like an ocean blue color with some additional dark blue ink. There is another debate when you work with pine cones whether you need to stabilize or not. Here I'm using some unstabilized pine cones. I just find the whole process of stabilizing wood is just very lengthy, and due to the amount of pine cones I needed in this project, I decided not to stabilize the wood. However, I put them in the oven for several hours just to make sure I have no moisture content in any of the pine cones. I found this technique absolutely superb, just using some compressed air to pop the blanks out. This will make the actual plastic bore reusable, so ready for the next project, and also just makes it a lot easier to continue the process. Resin is rather a fragile material to work with, especially when it spins around 600 RPM. So one of the best tools I've found working with resin is to use a negative rake scraper or carbide bits. So here I'm using a negative rake carbide bits from Easy Wood Tools. This works extremely well on hybrid items, works less well on wood only, but when it comes to hybrid turnings it works absolutely superb. It really minimizes the chip out and makes turning a lot more enjoyable. So if you work with resin and you have chip outs, definitely swap over to some negative rake scrapers or carbides. This will absolutely make your life a lot more easier. There are several different ways how you can attach this to your lathe. You can either turn a tenon or a mortise. I like to use some 5 minutes epoxy resin and the waste block. Then I will just glue this at the bottom of the bore once I have kind of the rough shape. I like to keep this for a good 24 hours to fully cure. You can just swap over and attach to the headstock. Due to the size of the bore, I was getting a little bit of a vibration here when I was turning the inside of the bore. It would have been nice to use my steady rest with the free wheels to kind of give some additional support to the bore so you can reduce the vibration, what leads to nicer and cleaner cuts. But I guess this just means I should make a bigger steady rest. And here we are, the fun parts. Now, endless amount of sanding to come. I'm sanding from all the way to 120 grits to 600, and then I swap over to some foam sanding disc, and I continue to do wet sanding from around 800 grits to all the way to 2000. Make sure not to skip any grits, and removing all the fine scratches from the previous sandpaper. So here I'm applying some polishing compound. This will really help to bring the shine out and just to pop all the beautiful colors. Once it is ready, I like to use just a little bit of a masking tape in case anything happens with the bore. The finished surface is protected, and now time to remove the bore from the waste block and some further sanding to come. So this is my first voiceover ever on this channel. Please let me down below in the comments whether you enjoyed or you didn't. If not, also would be awesome to let me know why not, as I look to improve. Obviously the purpose of the voiceover to give you a little bit of insight what and how I do, I love to share some of my knowledge and tips. Anyone who's getting into working with resin or just curious to know what the makers are using in their video, so hope to give you some guidance and knowledge over the coming weeks when I will do my voiceovers. If you enjoyed this week's project video and you haven't already subscribed, please smash that big red button. That greatly helps this YouTube channel to continue to make awesome projects and to share with the audience. And here we are, the finishing touches, which is certainly one of my favorite parts, putting my own emblem into the piece, so whoever buys it will remember forever who made this. Thank you for watching.